Hi guys, this is Miss Fernandez. I'm just going to give you a very quick introduction to Adobe After Effects. When you open the program, you're going to go to New Project and you'll see a screen like this. And on your right hand side, you're going to have your library and your all of the different tools that you want to use if you're adjusting text. On the bottom, this is similar to a timeline, like what you're used to already in your Animate program. This is where your composition will be. So this will be the footage that you're going to use or the text that you're going to create. Okay, and on the left hand side, this will be all the files for your project. So we're going to go ahead and start a new composition. Here, this is where you can name it. So for now, I'll just call this one test. I'm going to leave the height and the width as is, so 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. Resolution full. And here you can pick the background color, so we'll choose like a purple color. And for duration, I'm going to make mine 5 seconds long. So you can see here it's 0500, and I will click OK. So that is what you would normally see as a stage. So if you are familiar with Animate, that's what we would probably call it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and actually create some text here. All right, so if you notice at the top bar here, you're going to see lots of different tools. For today's lesson, we're gonna work on the text tool. So we're gonna click on that, click on the stage, and notice down in your timeline that you now have an empty text layer and that it has a red bar. So it's just showing you that there is something active here. On the right hand side, I can choose what type of font I want to use. So we'll just try something different. And you can also adjust the size and all that. So we're going to leave it right here, and we're going to do, let's see, BCSS Productions. And I'm going to go up, grab my selection tool, move it over a little bit, and let's see if we can, well, maybe we'll make it a bit bigger. And again, we'll center it. All right, perfect. So that's how I'd like it to be. Now, if you look down on your timeline, there's a little arrow, and I'm going to twirl it down, and you're going to notice that it will have text option and a transform option. So what I would like to do is I want this text to appear. So under transform, you'll see here you have opacity. So I'm going to select opacity, and I'm going to click on the little clock here, and you'll notice that it's created a blue dot on the timeline. So at this point, I would like the opacity to be at 0 because I don't want us to see the text immediately. I want it to fade up. So I'm just going to bring it all the way down to 0. I'm going to move a little bit further along the timeline. I'm going to click on this empty dot here, which produces another keyframe. And now I'm going to bring my opacity up so that we can see the title. So what ends up happening is that over time, this fades up. And if you remember, we have about 5 seconds in our animation. So a little bit before the 5-second mark, I'm just going to go ahead and click create another keyframe over here. And then at the very end of our timeline, one more keyframe. And this one, make sure you're active on this last keyframe. I'm going to bring the opacity all the way down. So what's going to happen is your text will appear, stay full, and then disappear towards the end. All right, so let's just say that at this point we have faded the entire title, but let's just say that we want to scale it, so we want it to actually grow. So click on scale, add a blue dot, and over here I'm going to add another keyframe, another dot over there, and I'm going to remove the constrain proportions tool so that I'm free to kind of stretch this out and also stretch it up. Okay, so let's just see what that's done. So what will happen is that this will slowly fade up as it moves across the screen, then it pauses, and then it fades out. One of the other things that you might want to consider under Effect is Generate. So if we go to Generate, actually we'll do Gradient. Gradient ramp is fun. So it just creates a gradient here. The default is black and white, but you can modify that. So if you want to try something a little bit different, you could do black and red. And let's just look at our production here. I'm just going to click the space bar, and there it goes. And this is on a loop, so as soon as it's done playing, it's just going to loop again. Okay, but that's my 5-second title that I made in After Effects. So I'm just going to stop that, and I'm going to show you how you would export this. So when you're happy, it's all been done, you like how it works, obviously you're going to save it. So save as. Now you can name it, save it to your desktop, and then I'm going to do File, Export, Add to Media Encoder Queue. And this is going to open, it's kind of like an addition, it's a separate type of software. And this is going to allow you to export it into whatever file you would prefer. And for our purposes, I think we're going to try and do an MP4 file or an H.264, which is a more compressed file. So it's a little bit smaller and it's easier to use. Okay, so by default here is my composition. The default setting is H.264, but there are many other options if you choose to use them. And we're going to keep it there. I think that's good. And all you have to do is start queue. So that's going to actually start rendering and exporting this particular video. And you can see as it progresses across the screen. And there we go, should be done. So it should be located, let's just check where we saved it, on our desktop, and it should be called Test. It's in a folder called Title. So if I double click it, there is my After Effects file, and this is the MP4 file that we've exported. So I'll just click on that and let's hit play. And there is our BCSS Production 5-second title. All right, that's what you got to do. So let's see if you can explore and try and make your own moving title with whatever interesting movements and colors